Okay, we're gonna do a little quicker daily message today about like where we're at because I'm just having to lean into where I am on this greater timeline and just observe that like what I feel and when I feel it and when I need to feel it will all just reveal itself, and there's not really much else that I need to do. But we're just gonna start. We've got a 8 card spread with a double clarifying. So we've got a double decker here, but we start the spread out with the Devil card, clarified down by the Eight of Swords. This automatically speaks to like we're getting South Node and Scorpio activations like to the root of all of the deepest toxicities. Like for me right now, this really resonates with like my procrastination or why like, and it's not even procrastination, but it's an observation of the space I would have been holding for something like procrastination in a previous life. And it's not that I'm actually even procrastinating anymore, but I'm observing like what it would take for me to get to that space, and the kind of bondage that creates for me, the limitations, the way that it's also really really hard in that space to discern what's true for me, because when you're surrendering to non-movement, that's why I say procrastination, because the Eight of Swords also gives me like the way that we over acknowledge other people's truths or things that really don't apply to us because they don't come from us. I think we can use that as an excuse to render ourselves into non-action. And I think that there was this sort of mounting devil energy, right, being major arcana, which means a very big, a big situation. And I think for me, the number 15 in general, which represents the devil arcana, is 1 and 5. And when you look at that numerically, it's like straddling. It's like the devil owned both your previous experience and your new experience, right? You know what I mean? So like a 1 and a 5, like you're ready for a new beginning, and then there's also a change in another situation in order for that new beginning to begin. So it's like immediately getting a new beginning, and then it's like boom, 5 energy, which is that extemporaneous sort of divinely masculine, juvenile, jovial, sun, vibrant, above conscious energy, but also provoking like change, you know what I mean? And then curvature and growth and development and things like that. So it's like starting off this energy, like I know that's really where I felt like, you know, where I was. But I think ultimately, like, I'm going to be so grateful that I took the time to really like process, and I can trust that the universe like is giving me plenty of time to process things, and there's no rush or judgment, and I don't have to hold myself back from rewarding myself for things that I know I'm going to do as soon as I continue to like speak things out loud. And I think like, again, like it's been brought to my attention today that the more that I've put into this to have this victory, the longer that it's taken, whatever the case may be, like all of that goes into what I reap. So everything that gets offered up at this time, whether I consciously intended for it or not, it gets swiped or goes missing or whatever, it's like I just know that it is because something bigger of bigger value, something wants to take its place, you know what I mean, and it needs the space before it even like enters the chat. So so what do we do about that? Well, 10 of Swords, you know what I mean? We end it. We literally, this is almost like when you let your car, the trigger warning, but this is like when you let the car just drive off the bridge, you know what I mean? Like it's the split decision that you can make and that could really have consequences. It's like the surrendering to the fact that like, it's like when you really do just drive it into the ground, you know what I mean? When you really do just show, sometimes like it feels like with this previous devilish bondage, it was like the only way through it was to kind of almost let it crash and blow up on itself, because it was like infusing this sort of lower vibration with a higher vibration. So it was like you weren't really ascending, you weren't really doing anything other than juggling, because this was such an anchoring energy. Notice how like they're not even in like in an infinity, but they're like sort of tilted, as in like he's trying to, you can't take it with you. It's like you have to travel light. And I think that was like what was killed in that energy, was sort of like, you know, because if the Eight of Swords is like where we really want to just procrastinate, so we just act like we're stagnated because there's so many options and there's so many truths and we don't know which way is the right way for us. That's kind of when we just let that blow up in our face, you know what I mean? And it's just the end all be all. But but sometimes we have to go there, because then it's like if it's something that you really need to be sure about, sometimes you have to be, the only way to be sure is for something to end. and to see like what was it really for you. And it still means that it needs to end, because clearly you're asking the question, which means you're far from like as happy as you could be, and you need to know that. You need to know that you deserve to feel joy in the things that you contribute to, if that's what you are so choosing in any moment. But yeah, you know, sometimes if you are in a place that's not providing you clarity, like that's answer enough, because clarity is the new currency. Hello. But also, if you're in a space where it just becomes necessary that you kind of have to allow something to be deadened in order to really see the retribution, like see what comes of it, to see what it really was, to see it clearly. Yeah, that's a lot to take in, you know. It's not fair, but it doesn't always, yeah, present itself as fair, but you deserve clear understanding as to what the anchor is, because I feel like that's what Two of Pentacles at the bottom here is like, what we're trying to figure out is we're like, all right, but what's responsible for what isn't moving forward? What is it? And I think there was a lack of clarity with that, you know what I mean? So there was this like needing to Ten of Swords it, you know, and Ten of Swords shows up kind of like unrelated right now in a way, like kind of, I mean, the Ten of Swords just kind of comes like as like detached no matter what. So it's kind of just like, and that's here though. So to see that next to the Devil energy makes so much sense, right? Because when you're in such a deep bondage and you're not sure what part is toxic, you gotta just, sometimes you just need to clear it all to see how things respond, so that you know, so that you can identify and have the peace and the clarity, because regardless, it wasn't serving your highest good. That was identified. But it was like, there was also a component that was like, I need the clarity also to know that like, it's 10 swords you put in my back, correct? So that kind of thing, because you go to royalty next. So that's what leads me to believe that like this Ten of Swords was about like self-sacrifice, crucifixion, you know what I mean, being selected for that or volunteering for that experience. And in turn, you're going to figure out like how to be weightless, how to not be dragged down when you're fusing new energy. And you'll come out as royalty and well respected and as a good judge of emotional character, because you're awarded the Queen of Cups because of your walk with the Hermit, right? This is like Ten of Swords, but when you rise on the third day and you were walking the dark night of the soul because they did it in the night, like it was under the table. The Ten of Swords, like, also I'm seeing, yeah, like it's kind of like a in the shadow thing, like what's happening is a severe ending and we all know why it's really ending, but above the ground it might be something else, you know what I mean? Like it's a transition, or oh, you're just like whatever. Like don't let anybody understate. Like for those of you, where my Ten of Swords gang at, like if you know you went through a Ten of Swords, like I think there might have been energies around you that also were trying to downplay what it was that was happening. Again, clarity is the new currency. So you can already see who's going to be poor in this new time if they continue making patterns and beliefs off of that understanding, which is, let me be unclear. So then it comes time to really rebuild strength. This is like when you're like, you know, in a game when you have like battery life at the top of the screen and you're like, and so you kind of like go in ghost mode, like you're no longer in the competition because you have to like heal for a period of time and rebuild strength before you can actually like play the game. Yeah, so it's like in your healing time will come the union, you know what I mean? Focus on re-healing, re-purifying, rebuilding your God strength. You know what I mean? Because it was dark for a really long time, and look, it's kind of like going from that gray darkness, that humdrum, to like a much brighter experience. Like if I could show you, which I can, so I will. Oh shit. What we're looking at, let me just rest my elbow. But do you see how here is a very bland experience? This is also a cry to have a much more vivid experience. But we're going from bondage and to putting a severe stop to just see clearly about what you're being bound to, puts you in this place of royalty, puts you in this place of making an emotional decision guided by your intuition. right? And the journey it took for you to walk out, right? Because look at all this weightless weight is what I would call it, right? And that was what was so hard to discern. I feel like that was what was so hard to discern, because this is a different type of final boss. You get me? This is the type of boss where it's like, you're not gonna it's not the same kind of weight. Like, it's easy for us to identify what's toxic because it's like having a physical effect on us or blah 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 blah. But what if it like talks and walks like a duck, but it's actually like a dog? You know what I mean? Like, so what do we do then if the rubric is just like, you're helping develop new ways of just new levels of like public group discernment. So it's like, it's a big deal because this is a, there's virtually, it's like hard too, because the bondage again was a very, very, like, only an ascended person would understand this to be bondage, because you've done a lot of work to free up, you know what I mean? Like, your money, you're traveling light, you're at a very investment sort of stage, you're only at the Two of Pentacles, it's a lot of swords energy, Hermit, it's all traveling light, it's all kind of guided by just like the resources. You have to keep yourself they're very receptive places to be at that time. So I'm also just feeling like that was what was also really difficult about the transition, was like the decision to some people might have just been like, what are you doing? Because it's not overtly toxic. It's not, because people can't see what it is that it's doing. But if only they could see the second half of this reading right here, and what your value really is, and what kind of partnerships are waiting for you, and how it's ordained, and how it's blessed and consecrated by the divine, and it will allow your inner child to just roam free, and for that inner child to attract like real deal dollar bills, you know what I mean? In the middle of some inflation, bro, like the value has gone up. And I mean, I'm telling you, like, this was a very delicate, the beginning of this reading, this first half, this devil energy, Ten of Swords, Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups showed up and said, quit this. We're not with the emotional manipulation. It gets that granular. Like, we're looking at it. We're not doing overt deception. We're not living on this plane. Who do you think we are? I have too much depth for this. Like, the Queen of Cups is looking back at that situation, is just like, I'm cutting it there. Like, it's insulting that you even showed up over here to my palace with the devil. We're not doing the bondage here. Like, the worst you could do is Eight of Swords, which is just, it's so loud. It's just like that I couldn't like make a move, and I still ended it. I still had the willpower to be like, I'm going to just walk away because you don't actually have me pinned up, and I'm not. And that's why when I actually faced it, bro, it was like taming this lion was like a baby cat. Like, there was nothing scary about any of it. And that's what I tried to be the support for people, is like, yo, you can go into some shit thinking that you could lose everything. And like, I had nothing to lose, dude. I had nothing. Like, I will promise you that it will cost everything to do this. But at the same time, that's why I felt so sure. I was like, well, then I can only just go off the value and the merit of my character. And in this situation, like, I know what I have and haven't done. And so you just have to go in armored up, looking like the Queen of Cups. Like, look, all I have to rely on is what my dark night, my walk with my inner light is. I can only rely on my inner light. Thank God it's strong. You know what I mean? Thank God my inner light is so strong, because boom, it just displayed my entire God strength. It's like, it brings in the union of self. My partnership is like the most incredible space, right? I don't even know where he and I are. It's just like lover's energy. You get me? Lover's energy. And I feel like there's a real union coming, because it's Nine of Pentacles in reverse, right? Like, it's two-part message where we talked about the Nine of Pentacles, where it's like, it's something that you had all along that you need to activate, bro. There's a love that you need to activate, bruv. It may be a passion that you like need to activate fully, because there is someone coming in because you stand above the rest relentlessly, like easily. You tower over the rest. And when this Knight of Cups comes into you, is the Queen of Pentacles feels her value. She's like real Venusian. The Queen of Pentacles is like, she's just really abundant, you know what I mean? Like, she's the friend that's like paying for your meal if we're going out to eat, dude. Or if you're going to her house, like, she's throwing parties and giving you gifts regularly. She likes to know that everybody else feels good too. Like, her dollar is good for everybody. Like, you want the Queen of Pentacles you want her at your wedding, bro. You want her on the list, because she's coming through, and I feel like she's so prepared, so calm, and so ready to receive all this fast movement. And she's just taking this time right now to look at this pentacle and say, you know what? I've done pretty good. And this is about to be really valuable. And let me just take this moment and this time to really look at myself and really talk to myself and to really be with myself and to be completely disconnected from whatever, because I'm psychic enough to see exactly what's in front of me and know when to plan things, and I don't have to worry about people who can't see and trying to explain things. It doesn't matter, because in the end it's going to turn out exactly as I'm telling you it's going to turn out. And I will be sitting in the playland of my inner child, working these positions that actually speak to the artist that I'm sitting here telling you that I am. And I would have documented the entire thing from the like absolute end of my old world and beginning of my new world is now captured here in beautiful messages where I am focused on my delivery to myself, and because I care about myself and because I'm delicate with myself and because I care about what messages I leave for myself, like that care is then going to translate to an audience of people who may at some point very much get carried through an entire process, much like I'm doing, because I'm hoping that this experience is shared, and I'm sure it is, because every experience is shared, and that's how it feels. You end at the sun. This is the story of going from the devil to the sun. Going from procrastination. The devil could only fool you. Oh my God. The devil started and tried to keep... You're procrastinating because the devil is making you think that something was stalled out, that it wasn't coming, and it actually turns out that by the end, it not only does it come, it's the fucking sun, and it's the fucking night of... It's the investment to build the whole damn castle. Something that you thought, like, something, so you might even be procrastinating against it, but I'm literally here to tell you that, like, something that the only way the devil could try to, like, get you at this point is that they could, like, kind of hold you and be like, oh, it's, like, not coming or it's delayed, but actually it's just a Knight of Pentacles. It was always going to come at this exact time. So once you acknowledge that it wasn't delayed, you weren't delaying it, and the devil doesn't really have any hold on you, which is exactly what this freeing process is here. You end in the playland of your inner child. You end up as the exact person that your inner child always wanted to be. Congratulations, collective. I'm going to use this energy to continue to be gentle with myself, to continue to talk. I've made really great progress, but I'm going to submit something that will really connect me to this timeline so I could appreciate just any positivity. And I'm sure at some point I'll be making a lot of videos post this thing that I'm really praying for, but I know that it's the new start that I really deserve, as I've offered up so much just to see this lighter experience, to really realize that I wasn't delayed. Nothing was delayed. I never could get off track. That's what the devil tried to sell you. Yeah, well, nothing was delayed. In fact, these are the horses from the chariot, like, linking up. You know what I mean? It's like an alignment. It's like your inner child is ready to shine right as the money hits. It's phenomenal. That's why it doesn't matter if this is just a Knight of Pentacles, because this combo alone says jackpot. And it's something you're expecting, and that's why you get to just be... He's like, I see the ships in the distance. I know they're coming in. Like, I could rush. I could try to get the port ready. But there is also that moment of just, like, staring and taking in, like, damn, these ships are really coming into me. And having the grounded confidence to know that, like, I'm going to go up and have my port ready. And they will have no choice but to park their ship in my port, and I will be the person that there is unloading their goods. And I will receive that download from Spirit. And this is that pause where you reflect on today everything that it was, you know what I mean? Everything that it was. Going from thinking that the devil had you, like, because this is a dream that's resurfacing that feels like a dream that never died. Luckily, because it wouldn't be coming back if you actually let go of it. But it was a dream that the devil really thought, like, because it wasn't coming, because it could make you feel like it was procrastinating, like it wasn't moving towards you. Which was the best that the devil could do. You just thought, like, damn, like, I guess I'll settle for some other shit in the interim. And what you settled for was the Two of Pentacles. You settled for juggling some shit. And you quickly, and it didn't even take you long, you were like, bro, this is stupid. I'm not going to waste another second of my time doing this, juggling anymore, because it's about to show up. Like, why would I keep crying when, like, the dream is here for me? It's about to show up right now. So Now I can cut it out. Like, it's cute, whatever you were doing. Like, that's why I said, like, it doesn't matter what you do at this time. Like, you could have been doing your own thing, but you're going to be put on the path of your inner child. So everybody's going to get exposed. Like, some of y'all who are, like, over-conflating your value are trying to get more than you can. Like, this energy is not always, like, love and sunshine, because some of y'all are not ready to be blasted out into the public sphere for what it really is. You know what I mean? It's tied to everybody's money, the revitalization of this, what you get, what, you know what I mean, for this new cycle. So some of us, our inner child is already like walking amongst us. Like, that's why this whole journey, like, I've had to look like real Alexis, you know, because that's the only way to look, you know what I mean? Like, when I look back, I'm just gonna be so grateful that, like, my image at this time was just what it really is, you know? And I don't want it to be distracting in any way, you know? Because it's not about that. And that's what really is going to transcend time, you know? That's why I can look back and be like, wow, well, I look, like, healthy, you know? Or maybe I look tired, or maybe I look like what I was going through at that time. But most importantly, I look like myself. So, yeah, dude, this is a big deal. But this is also about taking more of life in. I think in this chapter, like, you're going to be, everything from here on out is going to be pretty, like, you can't say you didn't see it coming. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how things are. So even people who achieve wild success at this time, like, and who lead and blaze ahead, like, they can't say that they didn't see it coming, because they would have planned this sort of thing. So that's very much the time that we're going in. And so it's going to be a lot more Three of Wands, where you actually get to take that breath and look at what's coming at you and just be in the posture. So that way also I'm feeling like I'm seeing like big breaks are going to be different. Like, there's not going to be as much people like wanting to just like, people thinking that like it'll only happen once. Like, if I didn't do this, I'd never have it. Because to be honest, if you know anything about this journey, like, you would absolutely know that like you have endless opportunities to kind of make shit really happen for yourself. And what's for you will literally come find you in either way. So, yeah, so you really don't even have to try. Like, it's not even like putting anything overly heavy on anything. And in that way, you can be a little more detached from like having to have physical possessions and having to have physical things, because you know that like it's not what's for you will always will find you. So you can kind of live with or without, and it doesn't really change the value of like what is actually for you. So it's a really beautiful message. But yeah, it's good to be like in the pause. It's good to just like be like, you also hear spirits telling you, like, spirits also giving a lot, like spirits helping. Like, we've been through harder energy, I feel like, where there wasn't a lot of like timeline updates. So like you didn't know how long something would be open. So, you know, you would feel more urgency of like everything felt like it had to happen now. And so it was like a lot of just like trying to do the most in like a certain amount of time. Previously, but now, you know, spirit's like, you got till the 31st to get this done, because I feel like the transits talk clearly at this time. So with that being said, like, really lean into that and plan more time to just look at what's coming in, because that's the place where it feels good. Like, the real place where it feels good is like when you look at it, when you realize you're going from the devil to the sun, you're going from the subconscious to the conscious. What was hidden is now in the light. When your inner child is no longer hidden, it's a money magnet. But you knew that, you know, that's why it didn't matter. That's why you could volunteer to make less, or volunteer to like go through whatever little cycles you need to go through, because it really isn't going to matter. Because the second it's in the light, so you might as well take the time to grow. You might as well take the time to just like develop. Because ain't no need to rush when you're coming from the devil, you know. Because once you get to the sun, and once you have that understanding of yourself, you can't escape. You're not gonna escape. You're not gonna be in the dark. So there's a lot of this right now that's like me enjoying my quiet time before it's like never gonna be quiet like this again. And that's what makes some of these moments that I'm experiencing right now like some of the most beautiful moments, you know? These moments make me feel ready for crazy shit. Like, you know, like, I get married right now. I can do this right now, because these are the moments where my awareness of how it may never be the same way again is like informing my whole vision. And it's making me feel really at peace and really grateful to be in ownership of kind of like nothing right now, but just like living my best life. Also, shout out to my storage on my iPhone right now.
for letting me get this message out. Like, it feels like it's weird because I'm not even really like with messages right now. I'm kind of just like, I don't even know, dude. It's just like kind of like how I'm trying to express more of this crown chakra down